Good morning. I thought I'd talk to you about change this morning, and I think we can all agree if COVID-19 has taught us anything, it is that change is complex and our emotional response to change is complex. And I think it's really unhelpful when we talk about change using models that are too simplistic and actually don't really exist. And I have seen the Kubler Ross change curve used a lot recently in terms of trying to explain change in a way that people will understand. It looks a little bit like this. You might recognize this. We have an initial raise in energy because something new is happening, so it's exciting, and we go, oh, something different's happening. So we have a little bit of a lift before we then plunge into a downward slope of denial and anger and sadness, depression. Before then sweeping out of that and exploring the new world and accepting it, coming to terms with it, and off we go. Everyone's happy. And of course, change doesn't happen like that. Elizabeth Kubler Ross was a doctor back in the 60s and 70s who dealt with terminally ill patients, and she noticed the emotions that they went through in coming to terms with the fact that they were dying. She didn't have a change curve, it never existed. More of a Gantt chart, if anything. So no Kubler Ross change curve. It's been created by management consultants trying to explain change to people in organisations in a very simple way that they will understand. And of course, what we know now is that change doesn't happen like that. If anything, it looks a little bit like this. It's incredibly messy. So I've decided to come up with a new Kubler Ross model called the Kubler Ross change graph, which looks something like this, which takes into account all the different emotions that we might be feeling during change. And I think, if we're honest, a lot of us have felt some of these at some time during the change that's been going on in the last 3 or 4 months. Some people will be joyful at times. Some people will be very sad at times. Some people will be very cynical. Some people will feel guilt, shame if they've kept their job and other people haven't. Some people will have a sense of hope. Others will have a sense of calm. Some people are in flow because actually the change is exactly what they wanted and they can just get on with what it is they really want to do. Some people have a sense of acceptance. Some people have a sense of fury. The most interesting one for me is in the bottom right hand corner. That's decathexis, which is an emotional detachment from whatever's going on. And if you think about that in an organisation, those are the people that will leave. They just become emotionally detached and move on. And if they become emotionally detached and don't move on, that's probably bad news for the organisation as well. So we have to engage all of our employees all of the time and understand that they're all going through different emotions all the time. And just be aware of that. So I hope that helps. I'm not going to call it the Kubler Ross change graph. I don't want to attribute things to Elizabeth Kubler Ross that she didn't endorse. I'm going to call it the Dylan change graph. So there you have it, the Dylan change graph. So I hope that helps make sense of the change that we're all going through and doesn't oversimplify it in the way that some models do. Thank you. Speak to you again soon.